Yes. So our next speaker, Thomas, the king of thermo and new energy and everything.
Thank you, Magnus. Good to meet you. Good to be here among friends. Today I will talk about my passion, which is I used to introduce myself as a climate nerd and a tech nerd. Yeah, okay. Which I think is fun. I see the climate change as the biggest both risk for us all, but also actually, and that's what I will talk about today, the biggest business opportunity on our planet currently. So, as I said, if we can take this huge problem of our dear atmosphere and climate change and turn it into a business opportunity, that's the way to solve it. Because in the end, we as people will not change. We won't. Sorry, but we won't. But if you can solve it with tech, and if you can solve it with a lot of money, that's a good thing. And especially if you can also make money out of it. I have two announcements today. Actually, I think it's fun because it's an anniversary. And the first one is actually that I will come to soon. First area is carbon dioxide removal. You might have heard of it. Last week, the big news was that Stockholm Exergi took the financial decision to spend 13 billion of building the big plant here in Stockholm. This is exactly what Nordbex is doing, only different, and I will come to that. According to McKinsey, this is a 10,000 billion USD market for biogenic CO2. So CO2 is, as far as I can see, the new gold. And then there are a lot of usage for it because carbon removal, you can do it in a number of ways. The ones you might have heard of, you can grow forest. That's what is called nature-based. You can turn it into biochar, dig it into the ground. That's one way of removing CO2 from the atmosphere. There's a buzzword called DAX, which means that you can take CO2 directly from the atmosphere through a certain technology. And you have BECCS, and that's bioenergy with carbon capture and storage. This is my favorite because it provides the highest value. This is something you can do very profitable, and it also has a lot of benefits for the society. In general, you take biomass that has consumed CO2 in order to grow. You take that and you use it to produce power. After you have produced the power, you bring up or filter out the CO2 through carbon capture, and then you can either store it in the ground or you can sell it for e-fuels. Simple. It sounds simple, but it's hard work. So the other one is Power-to-X, and you have heard of it, but it's a massive buzz right now. One is e-methanol. Simple. You combine through a process hydrogen and carbon dioxide, and you produce CH3OH. It's a nice fuel. You can use it in more or less any engine. And this is a nice reuse because the CO2 is captured from the atmosphere. It goes back to fuels and out again. So it's sort of circular. It's not carbon negative as CDR, but it's circular. And then maybe the even hotter space right now is called eSAF. That's aviation fuel, paraffin, long molecular chains that you combine hydrogen together with CO2. And the amounts of CO2 that will be required for these two areas is about plus 200 million tons of biogenic CO2 every year. And that's soon. How will we get it? That's what Nordbex is all about. This is why I don't have time to be a coach at Sting anymore. But and I so believe that if you can find a way to produce really competitive and high quality biogenic CO2, that's sort of the spot you want to be in. And that's where we are. I have the first announcement is that Nordbex is a spin-off from the UK-based company Landmark Power Holdings. We have, not today, it will be a couple of days more. We have gone from development into operation. This is the world's first power plus CCU plant in the world. We have patents in Europe and US to combine engines with carbon capture. So again, everyone is talking about carbon capture, but we are actually humbly one of the few in the world that has actually done it. And it's up, it's real. It's producing about 10 megawatts of baseload power, which is very valuable in the electricity grid. If you have a baseload, it's like small nuclear. And we are bringing out about 30,000 tons of food grade CO2 every year. The business is fantastic. We have an IRR in this case of 15–20%. So it's only good. Everyone is a winner. In this particular case, we are using the CO2 for like fizzy drinks, Coca-Cola, beer, things like that. But and that's a very small market in comparison if you look at the e-fuels. In the end of 21, beginning of 22, we took the decision to make a spin-off into Nordbex and start a company that is pure biogenic, because this one uses natural gas. So it's good enough for the market in the UK, but if you really want to do it, you want to go biogenic. I won't go through the technology, so you have to ask a little bit more later because we don't have time. I just want to show you what we are doing. This is the first plant that we are preparing to start to build down in the southern part of Sweden. This is a 200,000 ton CO2 plant every year. It creates about 20 megawatts of power base load, which is again very valuable for the society when you have a lot of intermittent sources. We also get carbon negative heat that we're using for district heating. And we are using the Swedish term, I like the term, grot. That's branches and treetops and from the forest industry, and you take it down to wood chips. That's the fuel. And the thing with this is that we have, from the start, together with Aker Solutions, because we are sort of married to them, because they are the best in the world on CO2, we have made it so that this is a system. It's almost like a product. You can see this as a Deeptech product. And you can place this one very easily into any city with minor modifications to infrastructure. You place it next to, I can actually take 1 minute on this one. So you have a large biomass yard, you have biomass treatment, you have a classical biomass boiler. We want to use TRL9 as much as we can because there's so much tech anyway. You have a classical 540-degree steam turbine. But the key here is, from a tech perspective, is to marry the power plant together with the carbon capture plant. And if you do it right, you can save a ton of money, a ton of OpEx, in order to, at the end, produce as low cost CO2 as you ever can. Because again, you have this 10 billion, 1,000 billion market out there. And if you can do it in a nice way, then you're very competitive. So this is more or less what I wanted to say. It's next to a train station because you have to transport 1,000 tons of liquid CO2 every second day. So you have to think about logistics from the beginning. If you forget that, it won't end well. I could talk forever about logistics and how you store the CO2 if you want to do it. We have a very close contact with basically all the oil companies by now. The time plan is that we'll start to build the first plant by next summer, and it will be ready by 28. So we'll have a full production year 29, and we think that's really good. We are right now looking into project 2 and 3. And our vision, the short-term vision, is that we will produce 1 million ton of CO2 by 2034. And by that, I'd like to end with this tiny little video, and hopefully we can get it going. And this is the reason for the video is that no one really knows about this area. So we said, okay, let's make one and commercialize sort of the area.
Our planet, our home, a place of beauty, ingenuity, and life. Yet it faces unprecedented threats. Rising temperatures and carbon dioxide emissions are pushing our planet to its limits. But what if there's a way to restore the balance? Bex combines renewable energy and carbon capture. Plants absorb carbon dioxide to grow. Forestry residues like branches and treetops, sawdust and bark are used to produce electricity and heat. The carbon dioxide is captured from the process that can either be stored safely underground, permanently removing it from the atmosphere, or use the biogenic carbon dioxide to replace fossil fuels with sustainable fuels. Nordbex carbon-negative power plants, easily integrated into a society, can provide both clean, reliable power and reduce the carbon footprint of an entire city. Imagine a world where we restore the balance. Nordbex is destined to help make this vision a reality.